There
We
you
are
go.
we
We're
are
officially
recording.
recording. Yeah, it's
We
cool.
Oh my gosh, my California dude tonight is being very extra. Welcome to our D25 Toastmasters Halloween contest training. Really appreciate all of you joining us on this Friday evening and spending some time with D25 and learning all about contests, whether you want to be a contestant or a helper or a Toastmaster, or if you're an area director that has to put on your first contest, we got you covered tonight. As you saw, we are recording for training purposes. This whole thing will be recorded tonight and we will give it out at a later date. We do probably plan on having more of this style of contest training. So if you need to jump for any reason tonight, or if you have friends or people in your area that need to see contest training as well, we got you covered there too. All right, let's get right into it. Tonight, your hosts are myself, Samantha Watt. I am the contest coordinator for D25, and I'm a general lover of contest season. I know I'm a weirdo, but I was not stressed at all. As an area director last year, I had my first contest that I put on, and I had no ounce of stress within me whatsoever. And I want you to feel the same way if you are putting on a contest this year or participating in one. And my co-host doesn't even need an introduction. We all know the lovely, talented Jessie Ford, our District 25 Program Quality Director. Any words for the group, Jessie?
Nope, totally looking forward to this. Yeah, let's go and make it happen.
Rock on, dude.
Rock on, dudes. Yeah.
So, our agenda for this evening is to cover our objective, our contest categories, a high level overview of what those contests will look like, participants in those contests, components of these contests, my preparation timeline recommendations, and then we'll do some Q&A, and then we have a mock contest for you to witness tonight, where I'll give you the behind the scenes of what a briefing looks like and what a Toastmaster script looks like, but we will have real contestants for this, so that should be extra fun. Our objective is to have you guys leave here with an understanding of the full scope of contests and feel confident in hosting or participating in one. I will do a lot of this stuff at a high level, but as your contest coordinator, please know that these trainings will not be the only time that you can access me. You can always email me at my name in my or my email that's in my name tonight, samantha.watt@thrive.com. And I'm happy to put on individual trainings for your divisions, your areas, anything that you need. I got you covered. I love contests. Can't say it enough. So the two types of contests that we have going on this year will be international and evaluation. So, you know that every year we switch it up a little bit. Last season, we had a table topics contest, but now we're switching gears and we're going to do evaluations. International speech contest consists of contestants presenting a 5 to 7 minute speech on any subject that they choose, usually with some kind of universal theme that everyone can kind of relate to. All districts conduct this contest because the winner of the area contest will go to division, and the winner of division contest will go to district. But the difference here from other contests is that the district winner will go to regionals and so on and so forth, like our fave Andrea Payne did this year. Evaluation, contestants observe a 5 to 7 minute test speech. Contestants are then sequestered for 5 minutes where they have time to write and develop a evaluation response. And then they'll deliver a traditional 2 to 3 minute evaluation of that speech that we heard from the test speaker. The winner of the area contest, once again, goes to division, but once division goes to district, there is no contest beyond district. So we place there. Now, there's a whole bunch of different participants in these contests, and we're going to cover all of the different participants, like those helpers, contestants, area directors, and we're going to talk about each one does and what they're responsible for. Area director. Some of you guys in here are area directors. Looking at you. You're responsible for the overall contest quality. And that also includes creating a flyer, finding the contestants, so getting with your area and with your clubs in your area, and finding out who those contestants are based on the club contests that are held. Finding a contest chair. Contest chair will be your best friend during contest season. So find your contest chair early. Make sure that, well, try your best to make sure that they are someone that knows people in the clubs that you are working with. They are willing to be outgoing and find people and help you find people for your contests. Hopefully someone that's a little bit organized or that can work with you to be organized, because they are going to help with a lot of things. We'll get into what they cover in the next section. Finding helpers, the agenda, certificates, etc. The contest chair, like I said, this person's responsible for a lot, but traditionally their duties are split up between the contest chair and the area director. They can be split up amongst other helpers in the contest, but generally these two are our backbone for the contests. So finding helpers. When we say helpers during contest season, we're talking about a Toastmaster, a timer, but there's 2 timers that we need. We'll talk about that in a second. Ballot counters ×3, sergeant at arms, 2 of them, and a Zoom master. They will brief the helpers. You guys are going to see that during our mock contest this evening, what briefing looks like if you haven't seen briefing before as a contest chair or as a helper during a contest. The contest chair can create the certificates of participation, the first, second, and third place certificates for both contests, the evaluation and international, and secure contestant eligibility and profile forms. So a little bit more on that. Some contests will have an awards chair, and some contests will have that is responsible for the certificates, and some contests will have the area director responsible for their certificates. It's up to the area how you're going to do it. But someone does need to be responsible for creating certificates of participation for the contestants that evening, certificates of appreciation for all of the helpers for the contest, and first, second, and third place for displaying during the contest when the results are given by the chief judge. So someone that can feel responsible for that, and hopefully someone, and this is why sometimes it's good to have an awards chair that is solely responsible for that bit, so that they know how to share their screen during the contest. And something I didn't mention quite yet, all of our contests up to district are going to be virtual this season. So every area, every division is going to be virtual. And then once we get to district, it is a hybrid contest. So we need people that are comfortable for the awards part, sharing their screens and showing those awards. It's a really nice touch to the event when you can see those winners on a certificate style. So we can take a nice little picture with them. Love seeing those on the Facebook channel. Securing contestant eligibility and profile forms. This is also the responsibility of the area director. That's why I keep saying area director and contest chair are hand in hand, right? It depends on how you want to divvy it up. But the contest chair or the area director do need to let the contestants for the contest bring, they need to secure and collect all the eligibility forms from each contestant saying that they are eligible for the contest that they're entering, and a profile form the Toastmaster will use. So we collect those, and those do need to go to the Toastmaster and the chief judge. More on that to come. The Toastmaster, I like to think, is one of the most fun roles during the contest. So somebody that's outgoing, someone that can kind of think on their toes, someone that is comfortable prepping the script and doing a run through prior to the contest, this is a great role for a person like that because they will read the Toastmaster script throughout both contests. We at D25 give you guys amazing resources all on d25toastmasters.org, and you can see the whole script for Toastmaster. I will have those ready by October. My goal is October 31st to have these solid run through scripts that you can start looking at and preparing for. And interviewing, the Toastmasters also responsible for interviewing contestants based on their contestant profile form. So if you guys have been to a contest before, you have seen the bit where, and if you haven't, there's a bit where after they speak, after the contestants speak, there is the time where the judges have all the time they need to write down their ballots, and then they get those to the chief judge. The ballots get to the chief judge. At that point, it could be 5 minutes for the ballots to get counted. It could be 30 minutes for the ballots to get counted. We don't know. And sometimes that means that the Toastmaster, in that time where we're waiting on the ballots to come back with the winners, they are improvising a lot. So we plan a couple of questions for the contestants and we do the meet the contestants during this section. So there is some filler there, usually district announcements at this time as well. But sometimes we have seen it where it goes 30 minutes plus because something's happening behind the scenes, like there's a disqualification, they got to look into it, there's banter, and we need to be able to fill that time. So that's either table topics with the audience, but anyway, just general crowd entertainment. So someone that likes to do that, someone that's good at thinking on their toes and can keep the audience engaged and not leaving the room if the judging goes on too long. So improvising is a good skill for the Toastmaster. Our contestants. So if you want to be a contestant at a contest, it's a lot of fun. And the only responsibility you have prior to the contest is to make sure you get your eligibility and profile forms. Guess what? Those can also be found where? Where do you think those could be found?
D25toastmasters.org.
Yes, Trish, thank you. D25toastmasters.org or TI, the Toastmasters International website as well. So the profile contestant form and the eligibility forms. Those have to be filled out and they have to get over to the area director or contest chair ASAP. So as soon as you know that you want to be in a contest, go ahead and get with that area director or area directors and contest chairs. Go ahead and find out who your contestants are and ask them for those forms ASAP. Good to send them out an email immediately once they say they want to be a contestant so you can have those forms in, because the absolute last thing you want to happen, guys, is you get to the time of your contest, the chief judge looks at those forms and says, oops, this person's not qualified to participate tonight. It's not fun for you, and it's definitely not fun for that contestant. That's why the eligibility form is so, so, so important. And having it very soon means that there's more time to fact check, look it over, make sure it's filled out correctly, make sure there's no questions about the eligibility. Once we have those from the contestants, if we're area director or contest chair, we're going to get that over to our chief judge. Okay, we're going to get the eligibility forms over to the chief judge because they take care of the eligibility requirements. And then we're going to pull that contestant profile, and get that to our Toastmaster, because it's a lot more fun when they have a little bit of time to prep their questions and get a little more creative with those questions off of that profile form. The contestants obviously responsible for competing in their respective contest. Who would have thought? And finally, they're responsible, if they get first place, responsible for going to the next level for either division or district or beyond. And if they are second place, they will be the backup if first place is not able to go to the next level. As we said, the contests are all virtual until we get to district, which Jesse and I will take care of. But before that, we need to have a Zoom or a virtual setting. So area director needs to figure out what that's going to be. And if there is a virtual setting, there needs to be a virtual host. Area directors, Toastmasters, contest chairs are going to have so much going on that night that they cannot be responsible as well for the hosting of the room. Okay, we're going to need to have some breakout rooms available. That's the stuff that I'll teach you guys later if you need that information, but breakout rooms need to happen. We need to have sequestration with our sergeant at arms. So there's a couple of things we need them to be able to do. Spotlighting contestants, spotlighting Toastmaster, etc. So there's some skills that come along with being a Zoom master too that we have trainings on in D25 to help with. So you get a Zoom master, they've never done it before, send them my way because I love Zoom and I love training Zoom. And muting audience members, that's an important one. We don't want to have any noise or chaos while our contestants are speaking. At a contest, we have timers. So timers are going to be timing the speeches. They will have a briefing by the judge, the chief judge. And by the way, we're not going to talk about judging at all tonight. So if I say judge, that is a D25 thing that'll be shared with you at a later date. We'll have training for that. In fact, I think Jake Blues knows a little bit about that, but more to come from him later. The main timer, the reason we have two is that there is one that's going to be our main timer keeping track and be the one that has yellow, red, and green on the screen for the contestants. And the secondary one will just be keeping track of time as well, but they will not be sharing the background colors and alerting the contestants. They are just a backup if there is a question of the time of the main timer. And they will submit their times to the chief judge during the contest, but they will be briefed and they'll be set up for success with the chief judge during that contest. Sergeants at arms are only responsible for, do we think it's the international contest or the evaluation contest? Evaluation contest, yeah. So they will sequester contestants during the eval contest, not during the international contest. During the international contest, there is no sequestration, right? Only when we have a test speaker and our evaluation contestants leave the room to go right, they'll be with this sequestration sergeant at arms. And then when it's their time to return to the room, the sergeant at arms that's in the main room will let them know to come back. So that's what the SAA does during the contest. And there'll be two. So the one in the breakout room with the contestants and the one in the main room. And they will usually communicate via text message or by the main room person going into the breakout room and physically telling them to come back into the main room. You guys will see this tonight with our sergeant at arms during the contest. Ballot counter, probably the easiest job. I love this job in contests. So if you need something filled at the last minute, this is probably the best one to ask for. And probably the one you can wait till the last minute on the most. And the other ones you're going to want to have secured as soon as you can. The ballot counters, they're just going to go into the breakout room with chief judge, count the ballots, right? So they'll be briefed by the chief judge, again, go into the breakout room during the judging or the ballot counting portion, and then they'll come back to the main room. It's a really simple job. It's just kind of that cross check and making sure that everything is above board in the breakout room. And it's a really simple job, and they get briefed and taught everything they need to do during the contest. Photographer. This is one that's usually brought to you by D25. Diana is usually in the ones I saw last season. She's a fantastic photographer, or Mark, or some others you've seen, but somebody that'll be taking screenshots or photographs of the events of the contest and then sharing those to D25 Facebook. But that is usually provided by D25. Lastly, our judges, like I mentioned, D25. This is a big one, guys, because it's so nice of D25 that we do this. They secure the chief judge and judges for all contests. We love that. Yay, Jason. That is a huge thing. So the contest chair and area director are not responsible for judges, and they will be provided to the contest. However, the contest chair and area director are responsible for getting the eligibility forms to the chief judge prior to the contest. So the very first thing that'll happen during the contest, you'll see it tonight, is Chief Judge, are we ready to begin the contest? And it's either a yes or a no. And the yes or no usually has to do with whether or not the eligibility forms are in and they've reviewed them. So for instance, when I had a contest, I got those days before the contest. I emailed them immediately to my judges or my judge. And that way that was all done. Wasn't even a question the night of, didn't have to worry about it at all. So the components though of our contest, so those were our, let me go back to that slide. All of these things on the left, right? All these people on the left are the helpers that we need for a contest or the contestants that we need for a contest. So it's a lot of people that pull this off and make these contests run. And the sooner we can have these folks lined up and secured and confirmed for the contest, the better. Don't wait until the last minute to get your helpers for the contest if you can avoid it. Now that we have our helpers, we have some components that we need to get together. The very first component is the flyer for the contest. Area director is responsible for making the flyer for their own contest, and it'll be needed by, we'll give you an official date, it's tentative. We'll deliver those to the division directors. Division directors will get those to me, and we'll get those posted on the website. It'll include the contest date, time, location. Here's an example of one from last year. Any theme, it's fine. This one's like a space theme liftoff. I think mine was like shoot for the stars or something like that. Be whatever you like. If you like cars, if you like football, you can do some kind of cute theme with that. And just make your, the only stipulation is that it covers these different things like the time and date of the contest, what clubs are in your area, who the contest chair and who the area director are, and the general how do we get there, Zoom link, time and date, and the fact that it's free to attend. You'll notice here these are branded in, excuse me, PI colors. We do need to follow brand guidelines for Toastmasters International. And I will share in different trainings as well that QR code takes you to the brand colors in Canva. So if you want that, you can grab it. Or you can get with me later. I have that. Next up, I highly recommend a spreadsheet. And a couple of thoughts on this that I'll share in a little bit. But who's responsible for it? The area director and the contest chair should work together on filling out this spreadsheet. I highly recommend making it a shareable spreadsheet. You do not want something that you're emailing back and forth because it will get outdated fast. So make sure that that's a spreadsheet like on Google or something, share drive, where you can see it and update it in real time. Create it as soon as possible, area directors. Get that spreadsheet going. I will send an example of what mine looks like, and you guys can use that and change it up as you like. There's also one on D25, toastmasters.com. It's going to include things like roles, names, breakout rooms, phone numbers, etc. In fact, this is mine from tonight. There it goes. And you can see I have role, what breakout room they would go to, the name of the person. Did I send their certificate? So I use that after the contest. Email, phone number, because you do not want it to be contest time. You don't see them and you don't have their phone number, right? What club are they in is helpful. And then I also have a column on mine for do I have their forms or not? Right? And then I have yes or no, and then I have a drive where I have those forms so I can grab them quickly for my chief judge. So something like that. I also have my agenda linked, my Zoom room that we're in linked, and the Zoom ID in case anyone needs the Zoom ID during it. Just kind of everything I need in one place, so I don't have to worry about looking for it through an email or anything else. So spreadsheet, create one as soon as possible. Do I have any questions so far? I know I've been talking a lot. I want to make sure you guys feel comfortable asking questions. If you have some, feel free to stop me anytime.
No, I have a the thing we must.
Yes, ma'am.
Just wanted to ask a question. If the let's say it was district, no, it was division and then district. If there's not a contest being held, because we're a new chapter, new group in Lantana, are there other ways to get into the competition? Or we just have to wait until we actually do it at our level? Does that make sense?
So the club, so it's a new club, Gloria?
Yes, yes.
The club can submit a contestant. You don't have to have a formal contest in your club. And for international, there's some stipulations and that you can learn more about in the rule book about in order to do an international, you have to have been a member for X amount of time. I think, but I don't want to get too deep in the weeds. There's a stipulation for newer clubs that doesn't have to apply to. So look at the rule book when it comes to international, but evaluation doesn't have those stipulations. So you can submit a contestant for a contest, even if it's a newer club. You're on mute. Are you talking?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Were there any other questions at this time? The location, we talked about this a little bit. We are virtual, so it needs to be preferably Zoom. Everyone in the district's pretty comfortable with Zoom because we've done it for several years. But if you're at an area level or a club level and you want to do Teams or something like that, that is fine as well. Just let us know and make sure that you have a host for your meeting or your contest. The agenda. So every contest will have an agenda where you're going to hand it out just like we do at our meetings, where you'll have the organization of the event. Oh, that's not it. I thought I had one handy. Well, you'll have who's in the contest, who's running the contest, the theme of the contest, all the information for the contest that we would hand out just like if we were in person. We drop it in the Zoom over and over again so people can see it as they join the meeting. So who's responsible for that? Again, area director or contest chair, you decide, you work on it together. That works as well. Definitely have to have it day of the contest. Would recommend working on it a lot prior to that so that it's filled out mostly, especially as you get names to fill it in with. So they'll have all the participation, all the participants, the location, time, etc. We've talked about our eligibility forms. This is from the contestants. Again, just showing that they're eligible to compete. They'll get that to the contest chair or area director, and they'll get that to the judge. Profile forms. Again, contestant gets that to the area director or the contest chair, and the Toastmaster needs to get that because they will be using that information and fun facts that you fill out on the profile form to improvise and ask them questions during the meet the contestants portion of the meeting. I keep calling it a meeting, the contest. Certificates. I do recommend having an awards chair just because when you are area director or contest chair or Toastmaster, it's a lot to do. There's a lot. You'll have a script up on your screen. You'll have contestants talking to you. You'll have people emailing you. You'll have all kinds of stuff going on. So having an awards chair that is designated to create the winner certificates for the actual meeting to show, I would highly recommend having an awards chair. Seen anybody do it though. I've seen contest chairs do it, Zoom masters do it, area directors do it. It's totally up to you. But these can be edited to fit the theme of the contest, and they just need to be the name of the person, first, second, third, and be ready to go during the contest. Certificates, same idea, except these aren't presented during the contest. These are for appreciation for your helpers that attended and participation for all the contestants. So everybody needs a certificate after the contest. And if you have them pre-made, you can just send them out immediately after, or you can do it the next day whenever you're ready. So let's talk a little bit more about the timeline. And I want you guys to interact with me at this point because I know I've been talking, you've listened to me a lot. So what things, if we are the area director or the contest chair, do we think we need to have as soon as possible? And you guys can write on my screen with the annotate, or you can call it out. What things do we need as soon as possible?
Identify the Toastmaster.
Toastmaster.
We need a co-chair.
Contest chair? Yes.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
first, yeah.
Yeah, I would say contest chair would be top thing on my list. Rangers.
Mhm.
We need some contestants.
Contestants, yeah. I don't know that would be an ASAP. Do you? I would say maybe a little bit closer to, because we need the clubs to have their contests. So if we're talking ASAP from today, maybe not contestants, but if we're talking ASAP to the contest, yes, we need some contestants. Volunteers, yes, helpers, anything you can get ASAP, get it. I would add getting your virtual room and your flyer to ASAP for me.
Samantha,
Uh-huh.
don't want to disagree with what you said, but somebody said
Please.
contestants.
Yeah.
You don't need to know exactly who's coming to your contest,
Yeah.
but you should be talking up people to get them to
Yes.
think about competing now.
Yes.
Hey, heard that speech you gave last week. That was a real, that really got me in the feels. Maybe you should think about giving that for that. So yeah, talk it up.
Talk it
So.
up. I like that a lot. Diana?
I sometimes think clubs that have not had their club contest or not even in the mode just yet, when an area director or, someone that shows up to their meeting and starts asking for helpers, I think it gets them a bit confused.
Mhm.
They haven't got their own contest done, and, that's kind of their focus at the time. So I think being a little sensitive to that, in the future, I will need these things. I hope your contest is underway, is the best thing to do.
Absolutely.
And if I can add one more
Yeah.
thing that
Yeah.
on what to Diana said, when you start going looking for helpers, make sure you don't obliterate some club's contest by saying, oh yeah, hey, oh yeah, you'll be a vote counter. That's great. Okay. Well, then they can't
Mhm.
compete. And I've had people say, well, I already committed to be a vote counter. I can't compete. Well, we need to, just
One
like
of those is
Diana
more
said,
important, yeah.
right. We've got to have contestants and
Yeah.
they've got to come from this area. But
First, find out if they're going to
you
compete, and if they're not, or if they're not eligible, then ask if they can help.
Yeah.
yes, exactly. But because I watched a club contest get completely obliterated because somebody was trying to get their roles filled and they just blitzed an entire club's contest. Nobody
Yep.
else was eligible and they'd all committed to being helpers. So just make sure you're not doing that. So
I think I like the general ASAP. If you're an area director or a division director, tell your areas to start thinking about contests and holding their contest. We don't want it to be January 20th and they're holding their contest for the first time, and that's the first time they've thought about contests all year. Make sure they're thinking about that early and often. I love it. What about the month of? What do we want to make sure we have then? Anybody? Bueller? We have volunteers written over here, which that's true. Our helpers, absolutely. Definitely want to have our Toastmaster and Zoom Master by a month before, because those are going to
and
be
you
our
want to secure your Zoom link or host account, which may be different from your Zoom master, but you want to know whose account you're using for the Zoom.
Yes, whose account are we using? Because that should already be on your flyer, and that should have already been submitted to Samantha by then.
I think
All right.
at the month of, that's when I would start putting my certificates together.
I love it. Yeah. If you know your theme because you've already done your flyer, go ahead and get your certificates working so that you're not doing that all when you're doing all the other stuff that goes along with contests. It's my area directors and contest chairs there.
I'd check into the script. So you have your scripts and your
I
contest.
love it. Yes, we want to look at that script. Like I said earlier, I'm going to get those out as soon as possible. I'm looking at the end of the month to have our scripts updated and ready for you guys. So you can start looking at those and giving those out to your clubs to be using in their contests.
So maybe the month of you would do your first run through with your Toastmaster and your contest chair, run through both
Be
of the
great.
scripts, and then the week of do another one just as a polish.
I love it. Yes, that would be, I would say I expect most to do it once week of, but if you can do it multiple times, do it multiple times. That's how I know I got comfortable with the Toastmaster script and the briefing script. 'Cause guys, if you've never seen a briefing script before, you have no idea what it is.
I got somebody to do mine the very first time I was the contest chair because it paralyzed me. I just said, somebody else do this.
I know. It's like a lot of stuff. If you've never seen it before, it's like, what is this? But don't worry, guys, because we're going to see it tonight when I do it to our mock contest. So you're going to get a head start. So week of, what do we want to make sure we have week of? Kind of everything.
I'd
Workability
follow up with, who contestants, or, if a club said they don't
Yeah.
have anybody, maybe rally the troops and somebody will represent the club without a contest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got some last minute contestants that way, just to get a few more contestants in my area. Week of, we want to have all of our helpers confirmed.
Want
We
your
want-
eligibility forms.
We'd love to get our eligibility forms and our profile forms long before day of. Yes. Want to make sure that we're inviting all of our clubs again. If we're area director, make sure we're telling our clubs about the contest, we're promoting it again. And then anything else week of? Those are pretty good. We're getting pretty full here. What about day of? What should we be doing day of?
Nothing else but your contest. You might be helping the one that same day, but
Yeah,
don't put a lot on your plate that day.
that's very good advice. Yep. Anything else for day of?
Confirming all your contestants are
difficulties.
there.
Confirming your helpers and your contestants and everybody. Getting all your
And
profile forms to the judge if you have it.
Yeah, and your test speaker, or whatever we call it now.
Yes, our test speaker.
Yes.
Mhm.
We've been to
see-
contests where nobody showed up.
Luckily, I see my test speaker for our mock contest tonight here already, so we're good.
There you go.
And also our technical difficulties, making
Yeah.
sure, do a run
Yes.
through.
Yeah.
Because
Do
we're
a run through
hybrid
with your
or,
Zoom master. And that's one thing that I didn't know, a lot of people don't know, is that our main three our main four, our area director, our Toastmaster, our contest chair, and our Zoom master should be on a good hour and a half before the meeting starts, before the contest starts. You guys should be on making sure that you don't have any technical difficulties. The Zoom master can make their breakout rooms, etc., and that we're ready to go, because our contestants and our helpers are going to get there an hour before, and they need to be ready for their briefing. Because if your briefing goes long, that can make the contest start late. So our main four have to be there extra early, and our contestants and helpers need to be there an hour early for their briefing. That's something you may not know if you've never done a contest before. All right, good work there, guys. I really like some of the stuff you guys came up with. I didn't even have yet on mine. But I have some timelines written down. We're going to talk about the contest chair and the area director. So our area director, ASAP, select a date. That's already been done. Thank you, Jesse Ford. Select the location. So get your Zoom or your location for your meeting. Establish a theme for your meeting, or for your, I keep saying meeting, your contest. We want to create that contest flyer, create a contest spreadsheet, and recruit that contest chair to split those duties with. At least 1 month before, we want to have our contest Toastmaster, Zoom master secured, and we want to ask our clubs for their contestants if we haven't already. The week before, create calendar invite. This is something I recommend. It's not a requirement of D25. I found it very helpful. Create a calendar invite for all the members of your area. I send an invite to everybody in my area, all my clubs, their email addresses. You can find them. And I sent a calendar place marker for the contest. Everyone knew about it. I also created a separate calendar invite for my helpers and my contestants, so they knew about their briefing time and they had it marked on their calendars by me. Definitely want to review the script with your Toastmaster, your contest chair, and the Toastmaster script with your Toastmaster, the contest briefing with your contest chair, and have your Zoom master there so they can practice. And if you have an awards chair, have them there so they can practice sharing their screen. Day of, again, we're opening the Zoom 1.5 hours prior to the contest. And if we haven't already, we're going to share those eligibility forms with the chief judge. Our contest chair, we're going to split those duties with the area director and begin recruiting helpers ASAP. At least 1 month before, we should hopefully have all of our helpers in place. And if not, we're just recruiting still and we're confirming. Week of, again, we're reviewing the contest briefing. We're confirming our helpers again, reminding them of the contest date and time. And we're going to create those participation, appreciation, and winner certificates if that's our duty. Day of, we're going to submit those eligibility forms. We're going to submit the profile forms to the Toastmaster, and we're going to brief our contestants and helpers. Finally, some best practices. Create the spreadsheet now. I already showed you what mine looks like. I can send a template of that. There's another template on D25. I recommend, this is something that helped me not have any stress whatsoever. This was having a shared drive. I'm going to show you what I did tonight for this prep. I have my contestant information down here for my evaluations. Contestants, I have yes or no, have they sent me over their forms? And I have a link to a drive, so I can click that. If I don't hit caps lock on it instead. I can click that folder and I can go straight to Emily's eligibility and her profile forms here. But I can also send this link to someone else and they can open this. So I can send it to my chief judge and I don't have to worry about sending them form by form via email, finding it in my email and getting all that together when I'm stressed out. That looks like this in my drive. So this is what my drive looks like for tonight. I have my agenda in a folder so I can share that with anybody and they can get the most up-to-date agenda that I have. I have my contestant forms and certificates. I have a folder for each contestant. I have participation certificates already created and I have winner certs already created. I just need to pop in a name for them. I have my helper appreciation certificates already created in a folder and I have my scripts ready to read. So highly recommend that and making it shareable with your contest chair and anyone else that would need it. Communicate early with your chief judge. I let my chief judge know the week of that I had the profile forms. I sent it over. I shared the share drive with them. So if I was missing somebody's information, I got that in the drive and the chief judge never had to ask me for it. They could see if it was there or not. Made it easier on me and the chief judge. Do a test run of your briefing and TM script. We've talked about that a lot. That is a huge thing that we highly, highly recommend doing a dry run. I recommended the 2 calendar invites, one for your entire area just to promote it, but also for your just helpers so they show up on time and your contest gets off on time. Have an awards chair and invite them to the rehearsals. Those will all make it easier for you. That is my training for tonight. We have a mock contest coming up. We'll start that at 8 p.m. I want to see if there's any questions before we move on. Thank you, Phyllis. What questions do we have about contest? Anything still lingering in your brain that you want to know about contests?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to say, what a cool PowerPoint, Sam.
Stop it. Stop it.
Those graphics.
Thank you. Savannah knows I've been working on my PowerPoint skills, so she's being really sweet right now. Thank you. So this is my info. Please take it down. Please text me. Please call me. Please email me. All that stuff is on d25toastmasters.org too, along with all your contest resources. So please use those resources and my phone number. I am here to be your contest guide, and I want to do that. I love contests. I can't tell you enough. Yes, Jenny.
Samantha, you probably already said this, but I have no idea how to create a flyer. Is that something a class I need to go to?
That is something that I will cover with Jesse. I think December. When are we doing that? We're doing that at some point. Oh no, I said I will get with all division directors and I will go to your individual meetings if we need support for flyer creation. Just let me know. I'm happy to get with you one-on-one too, Jenny. Just email me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll send that invite out to all divisions next week to let them know I'm here for flyer help. Yes, Jen.
All right, first time contest doing organizer here.
Yes.
Trying to get some tips from the veteran. Aside from the first team helper, do I need a second team just in case if people don't show up, cancel at the very last minute?
You want to have the minimum 2 timers, 3 ballot counters, 2 sergeant at arms. You want to have that minimum. And I can tell you it's going to be a lot of work just to get your minimums filled and confirmed. If you can get backups, I did have a list on my Excel sheet for backup. And that's just anybody that's willing to step into any role. So if you have people like that in your network that you can call on and they're happy to jump in as timer or ballot counter or whatever, I would have a list of a couple of backups that can do that for you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Did you still have a question, Jenny, or is your hand up from earlier? Okay. Tris.
Yes. I want to get on your calendar for a division meeting on Canva and making a flyer. So on November, the first Thursday in November, which I think is the 2nd. Is that right? I think it's.
Send me an email. Send me an email and I'll do it.
I will. Okay.
Anybody, and that goes for anybody in here that's area or division director. Send me an email. Get me on your calendar. But yeah, I want to give you guys a break before our mock contest that we're going to have. And this contest is going to be a little unlike our contests that we have in real life because I'm going to show you the behind the scenes of a briefing and the behind the scenes of the TM script. So we're going to see that on screen, but we're going to have a real test speaker and real evaluation contestants, and you guys are going to vote for your favorites. So it'll be a lot of fun. So go take a break, come back at 8 p.m. Central. Thank you. Welcome back to our contest training. We are going to start our mock contest in just a moment. Like I said, this is going to be a little peek behind the curtain because we're spooky tonight. We're going to show you what the briefing looks like for the contestants and the helpers and what the Toastmaster script looks like while I read it. So I want you guys to be able to see it a little bit. If you've never been Toastmaster before or a contest chair, they're a little bit different and I want you to get used to a little bit. We're going to start with our contestant and helper briefing. I'm going to act tonight as the contest chair and the Toastmaster. So I hope you like the sound of my voice because you're going to hear me a lot tonight. Jesse, can you stop sharing? Thank you, sir. All right, so this is a contest briefing form, not contest briefing form, a contestant and helper briefing form. So I'm going to read this through. We have some helpers and we have 3 contestants tonight and a test speaker because we're going to just do the evaluation contest. So I'm going to read through this and kind of show you how I navigate this document. So it's showing kind of the instructions here. This appears when there's a section that you may or may not need to cover. So I'll show you what that looks like in a second. It's ordered in contestants, contest Toastmaster, sergeant at arms, and test speaker, Zoom master, and assistants. So these are the 6 different people that different helpers contestant roles that I would cover as contest chair. You'll notice timer, ballot counter, and judges aren't here. That is going to be done by the chief judge of the contest, again, appointed to the contest by the district chief judge. So going down here, this is where I begin my script after this gray section. A lot of the stuff above here is just notes for me as I prepare to do the briefing. My name is Samantha, and I am the contest chair for the Halloween evaluation contest. And you don't have to be this verbose. I'm just doing this for comedic effect. Thank you for participating in this event and for attending this briefing. The briefing has several purposes, including completing required contest forms, determining the speaking order, and reviewing the rules and procedures for the contest. Contestants must be present for the complete briefing, arrive prior to the start of the contest, and be present for the full duration of the contest. I'll draw the speaking order. I'm now drawing 4. I would draw, and you can do this with pieces of paper. You can do this with a spinny wheel on the computer, but we need to draw for the order of the speakers. I already have them written down on the agenda. I'm not changing it right now. So ours is already set in stone, but you would draw them at this point. The rules of eligibility are as follows. To be eligible to compete in any official Toastmasters speech contest, a member must be a paid member of the club, area, division, and district in which she is competing. Also, the club must be in good standing. A new, dual, or reinstated member must have dues and membership application current with world headquarters. No Toastmaster may compete in multiple areas, divisions, or districts for the same type of speech. This is about international, so I'm going to skip it because this is a section I don't have to do if we're not talking about it. To be eligible to compete in any official Toastmaster speech contest, a member must maintain eligibility at all levels of any contest. If at any level it is determined that a contestant was ineligible to compete at any previous level, the contestant must be disqualified. The disqualification must occur even if the ineligibility is discovered at a later level and has been corrected. You are instructed to electronically complete the speaker certification of eligibility and originality form prior to this briefing. Please date today and send me. And I would already have this done in my contest because I've already asked for my eligibility forms way in advance, right? But if we're waiting on anybody else, we would have this done right here. Make sure we have this and get it to the judge ASAP. So they would date this, sign it, send it back over to the contest chair. At the same time, provide your name and speech title to announce your speech. This will be on their profile form. By signing this form, you certify that you have read and understand the rules regarding eligibility. Please complete your profile form if you've not done so. Include all the information about yourself that you'll be comfortable speaking about during the contest. The contestant interviews to be conducted following the contest. We will now review the rules and procedure for this contest. Your speech must comply with all current Toastmasters International rules. You should have already reviewed this year's rule book. If you do not have one, would like one, please see me after this briefing. The speaking area for the contest is a camera view that shows the upper half of your body ending slightly below the waist. It's recommended you stand during your presentation to make sure gestures can be seen. Please rename yourself to match the agenda. In order to test visibility and audio, please position yourself now as you will during the contest and state the check phrase, "Hello, Contest Toastmaster." I will respond, "Thank you for this demonstration." Emily, please respond, "Hello, Contest Toastmaster."
Hello, Contest Toastmaster.
Thank you. Oopsie doopsie, please respond, "Hello, Contest Toastmaster." Oopsie doopsie. Oopsie doopsie is in outer space. That's okay. And Tris, please reply, "Hello, Contest Toastmaster."
Hello, Contest Toastmaster.
Thank you. Oopsie doopsie, are you there? Did you forget your name is Oopsie doopsie?
I am.
Please say, "Hello, Contest Toastmaster."
Hello, Contest Toastmaster.
Thank you. The Zoom master will change their video settings to spotlight video for the contestants, so only the speaker will be seen by the audience during the minute of silence. This will cause your video to shift when you speak, okay? I'm going to skip a little bit of this because our contestants here are already briefed. They know this and they have heard this before. And the contestant briefing is quite long. Contestant Sergeant Arms will inform you when it's your turn to leave the sequestration room. After you're sequestered, you'll be manually moved into the main contest room, or you can click the Leave the Breakout Room button. Once you've entered the main contest room, remain silent until called upon by the Toastmaster for the tech check and find the timer during the minute of silence. Each contestant must remove any badge or other items that reveal his education level. You'll review the time limits. Time limits for the evaluation contest are qualify at 1:30. green at 2, yellow at 2:30, red at 3, and disqualify at 3:31. And the virtual handshake or tech check will not be counted as part of your time speech. Okay, a little bit more about that. Quite a bit that we go over as contest chairs in the briefing for the contestants. You can see why it's very important that the contestants get to the meeting or to the briefing on time so that the contest doesn't start late, because we have to cover all of this. And if there are questions from the contestants, that can also go even further. But hearing no further questions from the contestants, this briefing is concluded. Thank you for your participation and compete well. And then there's a handy dandy checklist here that you can use as well if you're the contest chair. And then we have the Toastmaster briefing. I'm not going to brief the Toastmaster because I'm your Toastmaster tonight, but there's the contest Toastmaster section as well. Goes over, do you know how to pronounce everybody's name? Do you have any questions, etc.? Tells you to follow the script closely, etc. Sergeant at Arms briefing. I do have a Sergeant at Arms here, so I'm going to brief her with this. Okay, one Sergeant at Arms will remain in the sequestration room with the contestants. The other Sergeant at Arms will be in the main room. Savannah, you'll be in the main room. We won't actually have someone in the sequestration room tonight. Both Sergeant at Arms will be co-hosts and be able to move contestants to and from the sequestration room and main contest room. At this point, will our Zoom master please make Savannah a co-host? And you won't have communication between two Sergeant at Arms. In a traditional contest, you'll have two Sergeant at Arms. So somebody would be in the breakout room with the contestants, and Savannah would be in the main room, and they would talk via text message for Savannah to let the other person know when the contestant number 2 can come in, number 3 can come in. But in this case, Savannah can just pull that person back into the main room or just message them or go in the room and tell them. So we'll skip that bit. After the test speaker concludes their speech, evaluation contestants will join the sequestration room. Contestants will remain in the sequestration room until you're contacted by the Sergeant at Arms main room contest room, requesting the next contestant to rejoin. Do not allow contestants to be unmonitored. I'm breaking that rule tonight. Don't be like me. And they must keep their camera on and hands visible while in the sequestration breakout room. 5 minutes are allowed for note preparation. Timing begins when contestants are seated in the sequestration room and have their evaluation forms in front of them. Okay, and their timer for this period of time, which will be Jesse tonight, we'll do a 5-minute timer for the evaluation contestants to practice or write down their evaluation notes. Any questions, Sergeant at Arms? Okay, thank you for attending.
No contest Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you for volunteering as Sergeant at Arms at our contest. And finally, there's a Zoom master briefing that, again, Jesse has done this a couple of times, so I'm not going to bore you guys with the details of that. But for yours, your contest chair would brief the contest Zoom master, and I believe the chief judge does as well. During the interviews, the contestants will spotlight, so you'll see spotlighting happen and so forth. Any questions, contest Zoom master? I don't think he does.
No, I think I'm good. Maybe little, sort of. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So that is what a briefing looks like. It's a lot of words and it's all written in the script. If there are any questions, so if you're going to be a contest chair or you're worried that your contest chair is going to have questions or questions are going to come up from the contestants or helpers, bring in the trio, bring in the chief judge, and they can clarify any answers to the contest briefing. But it's really just reading the briefing, understanding what the roles are, and walking those folks through how to do that role. Any questions?
Yeah, but read it ahead so you
Yeah.
know they understand what they're supposed to understand.
Yes, that's part of our brief. Yeah, before you do this, week before, right, at least, go through the scripts and do it together. The Toastmaster script and the contest briefing script, because it could be a lot to someone that doesn't know it yet.
Along with that, when you're actually doing a briefing, read it slow enough that people can understand. Like Sam went through it real fast because she's got Dave, Joyce, and I who know this. But you want to go through it really slow and check to make sure the person you're talking to understands, because a lot of people are going to be first-time helpers.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and contestants. So absolutely. Thank you, Emily.
Sam, I had
Yes.
a point with, and something I didn't know the very first time I was out of this, the evaluation speaker is not to be known, and he has a private briefing, and he is not identified prior to contest.
As a test speaker.
Okay.
The test speaker.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Yeah, I don't think I knew that. Thank you, Joyce. All right, so keep your test speaker.
We don't know who it is.
Yeah, you guys don't know who it is tonight, do you? Good.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right. So that was our contest briefing for our meeting. And let me pull up the Toastmaster script. And we're going to go through. And again, I have my easy share drive here. So I have my Toastmaster script super handy right next to it. It's all organized for myself. I totally intentionally meant to show you how organized I was there, not I didn't have to pull it
Show
up or
off.
anything. Okay. So this is very similar to the contest briefing. The script looks something like this. It looks like that. So it has some of these lines for things that aren't needed. But I recommend this. I went through and wrote in the bits that I wanted to change, and I updated this. You could take this whole thing and change it to a Word doc and delete all the notes and everything to make it make sense for you if you're a Toastmaster. But it is a little tricky to read, especially if you don't do a couple of dry run throughs. So would recommend that. Jesse is going to act as our area director tonight, along with being our timer and our Zoom master, because he's just that talented. So Jesse, if you would, let's kick off our evaluation contest for tonight.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I call this mock contest of Halloween to order. Welcome and thank you totally for all coming tonight. It's going to be a grand old time. We're going to have a lot of fun and do some oh, no. I'm going down the crazy path. That's just this guy. But you all are going to have a lot of fun. But tonight, I get to introduce our Toastmaster for this evening, Samantha Watt. Yeah, Samantha, it's over to you, girl.
Thank you, Jesse, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone, and good evening. At this time, please silence all cell phones and noise-making devices and refrain from making comments or unnecessary noise during our contest. When using a headset, please position the microphone away from your mouth. When not speaking, please remain in your seat while on camera to reduce sudden movements in the speaker's view. Your line will be muted if background noise is observed. If you're in a noisy location, please mute your line now. Your line will be muted if noise is observed. During the minute of silence between speakers, the audience's view will be switched to only spotlight the speaker, and your voice line will be muted. Please remain on mute during the contestant's speech. Laughing, clapping, or normal audience response is permitted for all other parts of the contest. Before we start the contest, let's give a big round of applause for any dignitaries that may be in the audience today. Chief Judge, are we ready to begin?
Let's see.
You know you got all my forms early because I sent them to you in a share drive.
I just looked again. Yeah, we're ready to begin. Totally.
And then we all clap. Yay! We'll have one contest today, the evaluation contest. After that contest, we will adjourn. Contestants, judges, timers, ballot counters, and sergeant-at-arms have all been briefed prior to the beginning of this contest. Everyone is aware of the Toastmasters International rules that govern this contest. Let the contest begin! Evaluation contestants, please indicate you're present by using the raise your hand function in Zoom. This can be found under participants or reactions. Thank you. Please lower your raised hand indicator. The speaking order for the evaluation contest is Tris K. I have to look at it again. Decaphobia. Contestant number 2 minimally. And contestant number 3, oopsie doopsie. We will now begin the evaluation contest. In order for the evaluation contestants to compete, we need someone to speak for them. Hello, Chris Irby. Please say hello, contest master, for a sound check.
Hello, contest master.
Please acknowledge when you are ready.
I'm ready.
Chris Irby, why zombies are way cooler than vampires. Why zombies are way cooler than vampires? Chris Irby.
Thank you, contest master. Zombie versus vampire. This ghoulish debate has raged on for centuries, and never have we as a people been more divided on a subject. On one side, you've got folks like me who know in their heart of hearts that zombies are made of 100% relentless, ravenous, undead awesome. And on the other side, you got a bunch of preteen girls and a few aging goths who still live with their parents. But my purpose today isn't to malign the horribly misguided and just plain wrong vampire fans. Rather, I'm here to prove impartially and with absolutely no bias whatsoever that zombies are just way cooler. Let's start with fashion sense. Vampires are really into capes. Now, maybe that kind of accessorizing was sinister and intimidating back in the 1800s when vampires were last considered cool, or the bee's knees, as your grandparents used to say. But these days, when you see someone wearing a cape, you don't immediately think, ah, Nosferatu. Instead, you probably just assume, there's a guy who's really into Dungeons and Dragons. Zombies, on the other hand, wear the clothes they died in or were buried in. And even though their clothing may be tattered and stained with graveyard dirt, blood, and zombie juice, you can bet it will still be more contemporary and fashionable than what the vampires are wearing, unless, of course, the zombie in question was really into Dungeons and Dragons. So when it comes to fashion sense, zombies get the point. Next, let's look at mental focus. Zombies are single-minded and driven in purpose, so much so that their vocabulary is pretty much limited to one word: brains. Once a zombie sets its mind on, well, eating your mind, it can't be deterred and it can't be distracted. Your only hope of escape is to kill the zombie or run faster than someone else with a taste of your brain. But vampires, they are obsessive compulsive messes. According to folklore, in Sesame Street, vampires have an overwhelming compulsion to count things. In fact, one traditional method of escaping from a vampire involves throwing a handful of seeds into its path. The vampire will stop, pick up each seed, and count it. It can't help itself. One seed. Two seeds. Wah ha 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 ha. Three seeds. Legend also has it that vampires are unable to resist the urge of untying every single knot they come across, which means they can be thwarted by shoelaces. I can only assume that most of them wear loafers or flip-flops with their capes. So middle focus, point goes to the zombies. All right, let's talk about vulnerabilities. Vampires are so fragile, it's a wonder any of them survive their first week of being undead. They're afraid of crosses. They could be laid out by a slice of garlic toast. Holy water will burn them, running water will disintegrate them, and as we all learned from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, stabbing them in the heart with a wooden stake will cause them to explode into an unconvincing CGI effect. Sunlight may burn them, unless they're those lame Twilight vampires, in which case it'll make them sparkle. Yeah, sparkle, seriously. My brain throws up a little every time I think about it. But at least all that sparkling will draw attention away from their capes. Now, zombies are tough. They may be walking sacks of rotting flesh, but they are darn hard to kill or, re-kill. You could stab them, shoot them, and dismember them, and they'll just keep coming. Heck, you could decapitate a zombie and its head will still chase after you, although admittedly only downhill. The only tried and true 100% effective way to put a zombie down is a double tap to the brain pan. So in terms of vulnerabilities or lack thereof, zombies get the point. And finally, let's talk about powers. In addition to being immortal, vampires have unnatural strength, enhanced senses, and mind control powers. They can also walk on walls and ceilings like Spider-Man, and they can take on the form of a bat, a wolf, or a cloud of smoke. I have to admit, that's pretty impressive. Zombies, admittedly, get the short end of the stick when it comes to supernatural abilities. Apart from being hard to kill, they don't really get a lot in the way of power-ups. So this point should technically go to the vampires. But I'm still really annoyed by that whole sparkling in the sunlight thing, so point zombie. Ooh, take that, Stephanie Meyer. Well, all right. It looks like a clean sweep for the zombies. They're just cooler. All right-thinking people agree. So the next time one of your loser friends tries to tell you otherwise, you just retort with the points I've made tonight. And if they try to argue back, you could shut them down with an emphatic, vampires suck. And they'll be like, oh, I get it. Vampires suck. It's a pun. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, right. I didn't even mean to. But seriously, they're just awful. And that is why zombies are way cooler than vampires. Thank you for your indulgence. I yield the floor.
Evaluation contestants, please join the designated Sergeant-at-Arms to the breakout room for the 5-minute preparation time. Sergeant-at-Arms, advise when all contestants are in the breakout room.
I'm confirming that all contestants are in the breakout rooms. Contest Toastmaster.
Thank you. Timekeeper, please time 5 minutes. While the evaluation contestants complete their evaluations, we'll get to know our test speaker. Please welcome Chris Irby. Ask the test speaker a few questions by using the information provided on the biographical form. Okay. Hi, Chris.
Hello, Samantha.
What club are you a member of, Chris?
I am a proud member of Golden Triangle and have been since 2015.
Yeah, you are. And I already answered my how long have you been in Toastmasters question.
I'm sorry. We
That's
can do
okay.
over.
What's your Pathways education level?
I'm working on the engaging humor pathway, and I'm about to finish level 4 and start level 5.
Wow, level 4. That's a lot of funny speeches from you. Your speech was very funny tonight, by the way.
Thank you.
Even if it was wrong, vampires are way cooler than zombies. Chris, what do you enjoy doing in your free time?
When I'm not mastering the toast,
When you're not mastering the toast.
I write plays. I've written several plays for the Pocket Sandwich Theater here in Dallas. I also enjoy drinking bourbon, looking up crazy conspiracy theories on the internet, and patiently explaining to people on the internet why they are wrong.
Well, that takes a lot of time to explain to people on the internet why they're wrong, because there's a lot of wrong people. Have you written anything lately for the Pocket Sandwich Theater?
We did an adaptation of The Three Musketeers, where we gender swapped it. We made D'Artagnan a young girl pretending to be a boy because she wants to be a musketeer. And so not only did she get a romantic storyline with Planchette, that she has a really awesome sword fight with Milady de Winter at the end. Still waiting to hear back from them. I think they're going to want some notes. They need us to shorten one act and lengthen another. So hopefully soon.
Well, you're old hat at it, because I and Savannah and a few others from D25 saw your last play. Can you tell the audience about the one we just saw this summer?
I believe that was Captain Phantasm versus the Nefarious Dr. Noir, which was the second play I actually wrote back in 2009. This was a remount. And it was a really fun period piece, staged like a radio drama. So we had an MC over the side with a microphone narrating the action while it was going on stage, and had a lot of just really horrible commercials for cigarettes and sugar-laden kids cereals and things that you don't get to see advertised anymore.
It was very funny. You are an incredible writer. I've seen 2 of your plays, and they're always a lot of fun. Thank you very much for being our test speaker tonight, Chris, and good luck on your engaging humor journey.
Thank you very much, Sam. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Do any dignitaries in the audience tonight have any announcements? Phyllis or Jesse? No district announcements? There's a summit coming up, if you guys haven't heard. It'll be November 11th at the Westlake Marriott, and there will be keynote speakers, education sessions, and the world-renowned D25. I'm trying to remember how to say it exactly. The world-renowned D25 Distinguished Toastmaster ceremony. I'll be there. I hope to see a lot of you there as well.
It's often replicated, never duplicated.
That's what
World
it is.
renowned District
I knew there
25
was more to
DTM.
it. How are we doing on time, Mr. Timer?
You've got about 45 seconds left.
45 seconds left. Is anyone doing anything interesting for Halloween this year?
I'm throwing my first Halloween party at my home.
Yes. Smart, I'll be there. That'll be a lot of fun. And what kind of, do you have any fun snacks or anything prepared for this party, or what's it gonna look like?
I'm making lots of food because I love to host. So I made a menu like 2 weeks ago. I went grocery shopping the other day, prepping food today. Real excited. Gonna have deviled eggs, fan favorite.
Deviled eggs.
I'll be eating all the deviled eggs. Make sure there's a lot of them.
All right, you're at 5 minutes. Sorry. You can finish, Sam, or Samantha.
We can banter during the judging, okay?
All right.
All right. Savannah, could we please bring back our first contestant, Emily?
I'm trying.
Okay. You may need to hop in the room and tell her she can come in.
Okay.
Oh, she's here. Oh, there she is. Hello, Emily. We are ready to hear from evaluation contestants. We already had our evaluation contestant return. There's usually 1 minute of silence. I'm going to speed it up tonight for us because we're all old hat at this, our contestants are. So please, hello, Emily. Please say hello, contest master, for a sound check.
Hello, contest master.
Please acknowledge when you are ready.
I am ready.
Emily.
Chris Irby, I am going to evaluate you tonight using none of the standard formats that you are used to. Instead, we are going to use the word ghoul, which for those of us who are not familiar is spelled with a silent H. Ghoul. We're going to go through the alphabet. We're going to start with a gruesome vocabulary. You used words like, well, ghoul and ravenous and accessorizing. And they were wonderful and vivid, and they really put amazing images into our brains, which takes us right into the horrifying imagery you gave us tonight. I mean, seriously, it's a Friday night. I want to go to bed. This is not what I want to be thinking about right before bedtime. Do you know how hard it's going to be to sleep tonight? Thanks, Chris. But anyway, that vocabulary and that horrifying imagery are just, well, gorgeous. They take us to a really, really wonderful place, and they really, really drove home all of your points in this competition between the zombies and the vampires. It was absolutely wonderful and gorgeous to listen to. Of course, your speeches always are, and you know that. So on top of all of those things, to make it even more unappetizing, you have obscene humor in your speeches, constantly and continuously from start to finish. The level of humor never wavers. It is always high and it is always obscene. So you've got gruesome vocabulary, horrifying imagery, and obscene humor. All right. We do have a U. This is where we get unsavory. Your vocal variety, oddly, not that much. You had a lot of passion, you had a lot of interest, you had a lot of speed and slow, but it was still fairly all at the same tone. I would have liked to see you sometimes talking about this and sometimes going, vampires suck! Like really get into our face on things. You could really do that with this topic and it would really like, okay, sorry, I got it. Vampires are not so great. I get it. Sorry. It would really drive us home drive the point home in a whole different direction for you. And then finally, of course, loathsome. Loathsome as in, Chris, do not ever give me this speech right before bedtime again, please. I would really appreciate that. In other words, ghoul, you are my ghoul this evening. Gruesome vocabulary, well done. Horrifying imagery, well done. Offensive, obscene humor, also well done. Unsavory vocal variety, because I know you can do better than that. And loathsome dreams tonight, which I don't appreciate at all. Thank you very much, Contest Master.
Thank you, minimally. Typically, we would have 1 minute of silence, but we do not have judges tonight, so we are not marking any ballots, and the judges don't need time to tally their scores. So we'll go right into the next one. The Sergeant at Arms will please bring back and notify me when the second evaluation contestant returns to the main room. Please note all of us tonight are judges, so we're going to actually do a poll after the evaluation contestants have spoken so that we can all determine who our winner is tonight.
I'm sorry, who is the second contestant?
It is.
I was supposed to be number 2, just so you know.
All right, I have Oopsie Doopsie as number 2 on my thing.
Okay, cool.
See, guys, this is why you should take more than one day to prepare for your content. Because I made that agenda today, okay?
Oopsie Doopsie has joined us.
Well, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be number 3, just FYI.
Trick or treat, everybody. We're just switching it all up, aren't we, Sam?
Hey, we're keeping it wild tonight. I was just telling them all, Joyce, that don't be like me and don't make your agenda the day of. This is what happens. You got to make sure you have your stuff in order. Anyway.
Don't do as I do as I don't do as I do as I say, right?
See, I want to show you how to do it wrong so you guys can remember how to do it right.
You stick with that story. It's a great story.
Hello, Oopsie Doopsie. Please say hello, Contest Master, for a sound check.
Hello, Toastmaster.
Please acknowledge when you are ready.
I am ready.
I will say your name twice, and you may begin. Oopsie Doopsie. Oopsie Doopsie.
Zombies versus vampires. Craig, your speech tonight took me out of my comfort zone. I'm familiar with catastrophic cuisine and talking to the dead. Your presentation could be described as a gourmet entree in a 5-star restaurant, and you were very much alive with your enthusiasm. Ingredients that I thought you used well for your recipe. Vocal variety, as you described the brains and the evil laughs and the, let's not forget the German vampire counting. You infused your recipe for success with humor. I love puns, and you used it so well. Vampires suck. And the background set, it set the tone for scaring us during the zombie versus vampire comparison. Now, mixed ingredients. Use less glasses to avoid the glare on the camera. And let's move our notes a little closer to the camera so you have better eye contact. My challenge to you is to stir your recipe with some visuals when you're retelling this story that will demonstrate the untying of the shoes and the knives and the stakes to further enhance the differences between the vampires and the zombies. In summary, great vocal variety, humor, background ingredients. Use less glasses to avoid that glare, and notes closer to the camera, and stir in some visuals and serve a la confidently. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Oopsie Doopsie. It was just fun to say. And we would have 1 minute of silence while the judges mark their ballots, but Sergeant at Arms, please notify me when the third evaluation contestant returns to the main room.
Contest Toastmaster Tris K is joined us.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms. Hello, Triskaidekaphobia. Please say hello, Contest Master, for a sound check.
Hello, Contest Toastmaster.
Please acknowledge when you are ready.
I am ready.
Thank you. Triskaidekaphobia. Triskaidekaphobia.
Chris, thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. I could tell you were well prepared because you actually paid attention to the theme of the meeting, and and it's a good way to know your audience. The audience comes in expecting a certain theme, and you did that. You use wonderful descriptive language and great vocal variety, especially I noticed when you went in there and imitated the wonderful count. Brought me back to my Sesame Street days. Well organized, you went through the points, and all of them I think are very valid, although the last one was a little controversial, and you kept it below 13, which made me very happy that I didn't have to deal with 13 points. It's a scary number. But there were a couple things you could work on. One was your gestures. You started out a little low, and we saw some of your finger points on some of your early gestures, just the tips of your fingers. Work on bringing them up or changing the camera angle. Get to know your speaking area, which includes all the way down to your waist. So you might move your camera back a bit in order to get more, and you not have to work as hard on your bringing your hands up. As a challenge, you had great visualization. You painted a great picture, but use of props. Bring in that stake. Although a cape would also make a wonderful step as well. But I kept struggling on what you would do for a zombie, except maybe wear tattered clothes, because that's pretty much all they bring with them. So in summary, great vocal variety, you targeted your audience, great use of humor and descriptive language. Maybe work on bringing your fingers up and get some props into that, and your speech will be wonderful and even improve the next time. Thank you, Chris. Looking forward to hearing you again.
Thank you, Triskaidekaphobia. It's a fear of speaking, if anyone was wondering, because I wondered earlier. All right, we are going to go back to our script, but I'm not going to read from it anymore because we are doing an expedited training mock contest tonight. Normally, at this point, we would say, everyone, please remain silent while the judges have all the time they need to complete their ballots. The chief judge will collect those. And then once the chief judge has all of those, they'll make an announcement for all the ballot counters to join the breakout room, and we can begin speaking again. But during that time, there is pure silence, and it can get very awkward. So that is something to be aware of as an area director or a contest toastmaster, that this time is as long as the judges need it to be. So while I said we need to improvise during the meet the contestants when we can talk part, this part we also have to be extremely silent during, and that can be difficult. If people from the audience begin to talk, we need to tell them this is silence and no engaging in their conversation. Once the judges leave the room, or the judge leaves the room and the ballot counters leave the room, we say, let's get to know our contestants. They would interview. I'm unfortunately not going to interview you guys tonight because this is going to go quick with a poll that we're going to do. In fact, Jesse, can you go ahead and launch the poll, and we'll go ahead and have our judges in the works here. And we would go through a little script here of how long have you been in Toastmasters? What club are you representing? What is your Toastmasters education level? And then we can improv with a question from the profile form that we got. That's why it's so nice to have that profile form in advance, especially for the rehearsal time, so that the Toastmaster can prep that question. Then we say, thank you, please accept our appreciation for your participation today. A certificate of participation will be provided to you later. If the awards chair is there and we can quickly get a Zoom visual there real quick, we can take a picture of that contestant with their participation certificate. If not, not the end of the world. After that, we'll have thank you for contestants, and we'll ask for the annual conference representative about the upcoming District 25 conference, and they'll have a spiel about that. We may have other spiels from our trio sometimes, but we're waiting essentially at that point after those announcements for our announcement of the contest winner. When we do have the results, which I do, it's time to announce the winner of the evaluation contest. I have a note on alternates. Our second place winner will represent our area at the division contest if first place not available. For the winners of the evaluation contest, the chief judge has provided the results. Gonna skip this because there were no disqualifications. The winner of the third place certificate is Triskaidekaphobia. The winner of the second place certificate displayed by our awards chair is Oopsie Doopsie. And the winner of the first place certificate displayed by our area director or awards chair is Emily. The evaluation contest is adjourned. That's how we would read that script. That's how that would go. So that is what a mock contest looks like tonight. Get some behind the scenes. Thank you so much to our test speaker, Chris, and to our 3 evaluations. I thought they were all excellent, and I have a lot to learn from you guys. And thank you to our audience tonight. I am still here for any questions you guys have. But that does conclude our training for the evening. Thank you so much.
Could I share though? I feel I did a lot of work on my profile, and I must share my favorite quote. Is that
good.
okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Zoom meetings are much like seances for the living, because we're always saying, Jesse, are you there? Can you hear me, Jesse? I can't hear you, Jesse.
I like that. Yes, Emily and and Oopsie Doopsie sent me some very funny some profile forms.
I know this was just a mock, but thanks